Hey class, welcome to Anybody Can Do It private label course module 2. This is where I'm going to be talking about validation and sampling techniques. If you remember at the start of the course, I did tell you that the part 2 of the module 2 is actually kind of a part of the research stage, but the reason I keep this separate is so that people don't confuse, because when you're trying to research your items, if you keep hopping back on Alibaba and AliExpress, it just confuses a little bit more. So I wanted to keep this separate so that we can have a separate learning session for the same as well. So let me show you the exact flow chart of the module 2. So you are obviously listening to the first video, which is the overview lesson. Now how this module is going to progress is we're going to see how you research on AliExpress. Now this is just a route where if one of you are actually kind of sourcing an item where usually the MOQ is quite high, maybe it's running into thousands, and you don't want to take such a big step straight away, you could then actually watch the AliExpress lesson which I've showed you, which is just as good as you buying on something like on eBay. Once you go through the lesson, you will see what I mean, but this is only intended if you want to go to that route. But generally the route that you should be taking for private label is basically through Alibaba, but that's an alternate route. If you watch that, and if you think that that's something which suits you more, depending on the budget that allows you to start your business with, or anything like that, where Alibaba is kind of sounds a bit more scary for you, or any kind of restrictions that's stopping you from going via Alibaba, then you can actually take that route. But again, it's going to be quite hard, because unless you go into a niche where the resellers on AliExpress are charging much less than what you would expect on eBay and other places, then you would be able to somehow break even, or maybe make a little bit loss and just kind of validate your product. But if not, then obviously the lesson that you need to be looking at is how to research Alibaba, which is the third lesson in the module 2. After that, what we're going to be learning is, once you have figured out how many suppliers are offering the product that you're interested in, you kind of list them down, and then you use the lesson 4 to see the techniques that I use personally to send emails. So that the fourth module or the lesson in the module will tell you or show you how you contact those potential suppliers, and how you evaluate those emails or replies that you get back from those supplier, and then you filter out all the ones that you're interested in, and you check based on the replies that you get from them, and then you move on to arranging samples, which you'll see in this lesson 4, how you effectively communicate with the last few suppliers that you want to get the samples from. And the lesson after that will tell you how to evaluate the samples. So once you've received the samples, what are the things that you should start looking at, how you compare the samples if you have received samples from more than one suppliers. And this is pretty much it, how the module 2 would end. Once you have completed that stage, and that means that you are happy with one of the samples that you've received, and you're good to go on the third module, which is where all the fun begins, because you'll start placing your first private label order. That's where you'd start thinking about trademarks, patents, you start thinking about branding, packaging. So this is where it will get really interesting. At the moment, it has been a bit more frustrating stages, as I had mentioned in my first video in the module 1 as well, but that's about to end, because you are on your way to now validate the products that you have been already brainstorming for a long time. So this is exactly what module 2 would cover. And once you have once again, this is just a normal task, because we are not into the action stage yet, but once you have finished the module, then please go and report to the class so that you can make others aware that you have already cleared this stage. So that's it for the overview module or the overview lesson in the module 2, and I'll see you in the next lesson.